welcome to another exciting episode of the KLIQ Nation's Comic Book Chronicles. That did not come in loud. I am your host for the night, Roddy Cat, and with me tonight we have PCN_Dirt.
Yay!
Woo. The one coming to me right
Actually,
now.
wait. This is a better one. Okay. There we go. DJ Airhorn. That's me.
We should light this up, y'all. Tonight, yeah, it's just us two for the time. For tonight, it's not the time being because everybody else is on their personal things, and this is going to be probably as short as I can get it, especially with all the news from San Diego Comic-Con, and there is a lot. So without further ado, let's get to the Agent_70. You can find him at Agent_70 on Twitter and Instagram. You can find Tim at TimDog98, Tim DOGG98 on Twitter. The KLIQ Nation on Twitter. That's the KLIQ NATION. We'll get it. And Cron.
It's every time I think you're going to take a pause, I go for it. You never pause at the spot where I think you are.
How about this? I will actually take a pause. So, and CB Cron on Twitter. TheKLIQNation.com also. Sweet. Also, and I'm not going to take a break for this one because I'm just going to run through all of mine and say that you can find me at RoddyCat on Twitter, at NewsNerdsNeed on Twitter. You can find me at my NewsNerdsNeed Reddit. You can find me on Instagram at CBCaps. Sweet. And you can find this podcast on the CSPN network, the CSPN.us. And you can subscribe to this podcast on Google Play, Apple, iTunes Music, whatever. Apple Podcasts.
Are you sure? Are you sure about that one?
I'm fairly sure. It's they change their name every few years. It's kind of crazy. But you know what? iTunes, you know the place. SoundCloud also on the CSPN channel.
Whatever. It doesn't matter.
Sure. And the last one, shop.cspn.us, where you can get merch from this show and other shows on the network. Yay.
All right.
Anyway, so it's so actually now people would have heard it. Anyway, this week, like I said, we have a few books to go into, and we are going to start with Dirt's pick. Doomsday Clock number, which one?
This is number 6.
Number 6, cool.
Doomsday Clock number 6. And to be honest, I'd kind of forgotten this series was coming out. This is one of those things where it showed up and I was like, oh, right, that thing is still going on, isn't it? And it's weird because it exists totally outside of anything else that's happening in the DC universe. They're trying to make the Watchmen happen in the regular DC universe. So there's all this stuff about this government conspiracy to create superhumans, metahumans. They call it like the Superman effect or the Superman something, where they're trying to create their own, government-run special agents, and it's creating this distrust of all the metahumans, and war is breaking out, and there's riots, and all this stuff, kind of like Watchmen. That whole distrust of the government, and Ozymandias is meeting with Lex Luthor, and they've got some sort of plans. And Marionette and Mime are these two new villains that we have. They've joined up with Joker. This series is just like, well, for one thing, like I said, I forgot it was even coming out. Like that shows you how. Like, I was super excited when it started, and there have been some things that have happened along the way where you're like, oh, wow, that's really cool. But they've taken so long to get through it that I forget a lot of the stuff. Like, I'm reading through, and they'll mention something. You're like, wait, what? Oh, right, that happened 2 issues ago, which was 4 months ago, or, something like that. So it's really kind of tough to keep the feel of the momentum going in the book. And as far as the story goes, it's okay. But it's one of these things where I don't really, you can't really see where it's going. Like, I don't really see what this is building to. If the eventual goal is to merge the Watchmen universe with the DC universe, or to bring some of the characters from the Watchmen universe into the DC universe, then they've kind of already done that to a certain degree, and we're halfway through the series. So I don't know what the other 6 issues are for. Like, this really feels like if that was their goal, they could have ended it much sooner than the 12 issues they have planned. So I don't know where it's going. And here's the other thing. They have the Superman symbol on their logo, that doomsday clock. It's the Superman symbol is midnight on the clock. And so, of course, on a doomsday clock, midnight is supposed to be Armageddon, when we go to nuclear war and everybody on Earth dies and whatever. So it's like counting down to something with Superman. Superman is not in this book. Batman's in this book. Joker's in this book. Riddler's in this book. We've got the comedian. We've got Rorschach. We don't have Superman. So they talk about Superman in this whole conspiracy thing, and people aren't sure whether or not is he really here to help, or is he a government agent or whatever. But otherwise, he's not really a part of the story. So maybe the next 6 issues are somehow how they're going to tie Superman into this. I don't know, but I'm still sitting here at this point reading this going, it's like, I guess it's fine, but I'm just having a hard time staying excited for this. And I'm just kind of waiting for it to, like, okay, what are we doing? What's the grand scheme? What's the plan? Can we see something unfold? And we're not really getting it yet. So just gonna have to wait and see, I guess, as it unfolds, whether or not I'm gonna be really upset. Well, it's 6 more issues, so in another year and a half, I guess, when it finally wraps up, we'll see whether or not it's any good.
They don't have any kind of hold offs or anything.
Like, it's really one of these things. I wish they would do, like, have the first 6 issues in the can before they announce it. So then by the time it actually hits, the first issue hits the streets, then the final issue will be wrapping up production so it can stay on schedule, instead of these things where it's like they get an idea at one Comic-Con, and at the next Comic-Con they announce it. You know what I mean? So,
I mean, that just sounds logic. What are you're asking? You're asking a lot.
Yeah, I know. But anyway.
I was gonna ask, because it's from what you're saying, it sounds like it could tie more into Injustice more than, or maybe this is just me speculating, Injustice more than DCU at large.
No, because, well, the way Injustice started was like the regular DC universe, and then Joker killed Lois. Right? That's how it was, right? Yeah. So,
or it had something to do with it. I think he had Superman accidentally killed her from, I don't know, something like that. Either way,
put a bomb in her or something. I don't remember, but yeah, something like that. So that was like a divergence of the normal DC universe. So, no, well, and here's the other thing. It's like the way the book is designed. It's even designed like the Watchmen books, where you've got the title on the side. If you remember, they did all those Watchmen prequels a couple years ago. They had that design to it, although it's green instead of yellow. So maybe that means, I don't know, Hal Jordan. So I don't know. But anyway, it's
either that or actual Doomsday is going to come into it at the end of it, and not actual.
But the thing is, like, I guess the problem is because they've done so much with the timeline. Like, they have all this stuff going on in the DC universe that it just seems like whatever it's going to end with is going to end with like the timeline resetting itself or setting itself right, or Dr. Manhattan's going to show up and snap his fingers and everything's going to go back to the way it was or something. So I like reading this. I kind of feel the same way whenever I watch one of those DC TV shows. And one reason why I don't watch any of those shows anymore is because it's like, okay, this may be Flash and he may be running fast and you may have a Zoom and you may have a, whoever in it. But at the end of the day, this isn't really Flash. This isn't really the DC universe. And that's really how I feel as I'm reading this. It's like, at first I thought the Watchmen were just going to come in and it was going to cause some big kerfluffle and there'd be this massive fight, like we usually get. And that would be kind of fun. But now it's like, It's like they want to break the world so they can put it back together again at the end. And all right, well, whatever. But I just don't know if it's going to have any real permanence.
Yeah, because it seemed like that's what they were trying to make it out as to be, but by what you're saying, it's kind of falling flat.
So,
yeah. Well, that's that then. Until whatever happens in the next 12 months. I guess we will go ahead and get to. Well, I can go ahead and get this on the DC train real quick and go ahead and do Teen Titans 20. I really don't have a whole lot to say about it, but nevertheless, so this is the new Teen Titans, you might as well say, because it's Damian and the new crew that have all broke away. I guess due to the events of Metal, because there was an issue I know I didn't read, and somewhere in there the Titans and the Teen Titans. The Titans broke off and the Teen Titans broke off, but I remember that one because that happened in the regular issue. But then there's a new Titans, which has some Teen Titans in it, and then we have a whole new set of Teen Titans, which has like Damian, Kid Flash, and then a bunch of new people like Lobo's daughter, Crush. Let's see. There's this dude called Roundhouse, who's like from what he looks like is Speedball, but he's kind of his personality is kind of the Beast Boy type. So, and then there's this other young lady named Jen, who's a genie, and she's like a teenage genie. So she's kind of the Raven analog. And am I missing someone? I don't. Oh, Red Arrow, who is Green Arrow's little sister. Kind of intense like Damian, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And this issue kind of goes into why he brought those together. There's even like one-page flashes of him recruiting them because we never did get that from the Teen Titans special. And then them going into a mission with against Brother Blood, who I guess who's been relegated down, who's been pretty much relegated down to a first issue situation. But they do that, and their whole thing is, hey, you know what? The rules of the Justice League and the no killing thing doesn't apply because, hey, why should we be more obligated when the criminals are still kind of getting set free? So Damon sets out to make this new crew who doesn't seem to have a problem with hurting people real bad or killing. They do this mission, they hurt the dude, but the one thing we find out at the end of this issue is that there's a new base that Damon set up from his pops, that he's basically stole from his pops, and that he's keeping the people that he's keeping the villains that he's beaten down, that they've beaten down, unbeknownst to the other people on the other crew. And keeping criminals locked up in your superhero base always goes well.
Yeah, never a problem. Never goes wrong.
Problem at all. So so he's got a bunch of people locked up in his basement, and surely nothing's going to happen with that. And that's what we find out at the end of this issue. I mean, it's a new crew. It's definitely a younger crew, and they definitely wrote them. Like if you could look at the cover of it, it looks like they're posing for a mixtape.
Yeah, I was gonna say, do you have a paper copy in front of you?
I do not. No,
okay.
I have my digital copy, but I don't have a. Because I don't.
Can you pull up the cover? Because
I'll do that real quick. I should have pulled it up on. Oh wait, actually, here.
Oh, screen share.
Yeah. Bear with me a moment, folks.
The magic, folks. This is the magic.
You gotta. This is how the beans happen. Here we go, and that.
There's okay. So when I saw this cover, like when they released this cover, like 3 months ago, or whatever, when they announced that they were changing the team, I look at this cover, and I'm like, there is no way I would buy this book. Like, not in a million years would I pay money. And especially, I'm looking at Lobo's daughter. Reminds me of Joker's daughter. reminds me of Lobo,
Really?
which makes me like, no, like what?
He definitely his temperament, but yeah. So I don't know. I know very little about her other side. Is like, yeah, you can tell this is her daughter.
And Red Arrow looks like she'd rather be anywhere but on this team. Well, that's a great endorsement. You know what I mean? It's just like, I don't know. It's like I look at this cover and it's like if this was a way to say, hey guys, you should read this, then no, you failed.
So I can see this appealing to. I don't want to say it's like Champions level because Champions kind of handles things a little different. I would argue better. Like I said, you can see from the writing, even from this, you can tell from this cover, it's like, okay, yeah, this is definitely going to be some difference, and it is to a point because, like I said, even you can tell in the writing, they're. I don't know. I can't say if they're trying to write it a little hipper, but you can kind of tell in instances.
Well, what it looks like to me is them trying to do Valiant's Harbinger, like when they relaunched a couple years ago, and they had gauges in their ears and the shaved sides of their head, haircuts, and they were being emo and trendy. And
Luckily, it doesn't get that edgy. Luckily, it does not. I mean,
but to me, it's like that's DC trying to do that.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
I think, and there's some merit to that because, yeah, in a DC way, they're kind of, I guess, because I haven't read Harbinger, so I don't know, but I can see what you're saying, and I can see that in a DC type of way,
right?
And obviously, like I said, you got Damian and Red Arrow, who are pretty much the most alike out of anybody out of the crew, and everybody else is just kind of the other Titans parallels, Like you got a Flash on there, and he is what it is. You got a mix of Flash and Young Justice. Like they don't really have a cyborg, although one of them has I think the Roundhouse person, he's got some computer experts or something, expertise or something like that. But he's basically just a human wrecking ball, as the thing says. You got your Raven parallel. You got your strong guy who's the Superboy slash, I guess the Superboy slash cyborg. Actually, he's probably more like Superboy because she's a little bit, but she's just Lobo's daughter. So yeah, you got your Teen Titans slash Young Justice kind of parallels going on here, and they're still trying to go for that.
Anyway,
yeah, I don't know. I said I was going to give this a couple of issues, and that's still mine because I still have I still have a little affinity with nowhere near being a teen, but the Teen Titans have always been a favorite group of mine, from the DC canon. Right. But we'll see how this goes with that. Because they kind of almost lost me. Oh, not necessarily lost me, but it was like, okay, I see what you're doing here. You're just kind of going. You're just trying to go hipper. I got you.
Although I will say though that does look better than the preview of the Teen Titans show that's going to be on the DC Universe app.
Aww.
I think I'd rather watch Oprah than watch that Teen Titans show.
Oh wow. Wait, you're not talking about Young Justice, you're talking about that other Teen Titans.
Whichever one had like Robin dropping the F-bomb in the trailer.
Oh, Titans. Yeah.
Titans, yeah.
We will get to that later on. Yeah. I don't know. There's some good things about IC in that one, but a live action Titans, I don't know how that's gonna roll. That's gonna be weird. But we'll get to that later on. Like I said, I'm sure one of us would have seen it at some point. So let's move on to a couple of books. You got something else you want to throw out?
What's next?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll do the Action Comics. This is 1001. And so I have to say I liked this better than the Superman #1 that they did last week or the week before, whenever that came out.
Bendis is doing that.
Yes, yeah. Bendis is doing all the Superman books right now. So Bendis did Superman 1, and he's doing this one also. But there is a sense of continuity between the two books. And if you remember, the Superman books back in the 90s, they ran as like a weekly series basically between all the different books. So we do have a feel like the books are connected. I don't know how closely they're going to keep them, tied together. But we we get a look at some new villains in this one. There's this conspiracy to frame Superman for some crimes, and so it plays a little bit off of that. But I don't know if it was just the Superman #1 was him kind of, trying to get that first dip of his toes into making a #1, and maybe he didn't feel as much pressure when doing this, because this one felt a lot more connected to the rest of the DC universe than that other one did. The other one had an appearance by Martian Manhunter that was totally out of character in this totally dumb scene where Martian Manhunter's like, you should just take over the planet and do everything, and if they don't like it, just force them to go along with it. And it's like, what? Like, not only does that not fit Martian Manhunter, but that doesn't make any sense for Superman either.
Right.
So again, like, I don't know if maybe he was trying to throw some crazy stuff into #1 to get people talking about it, but this feels a lot more relaxed and a lot more along the lines of Superman that you've come to know and expect. And we do see Lois, I believe, at the end of this book. There's a character, we don't see who it is, but I'm pretty sure it's Lois. They don't use her name, but it's either someone writing a story about Lois or it's Lois writing her story. So I'm assuming it is Lois. And it's done in a way that there's something going on with her. She's going to spill some secrets or something, and like maybe she's going to stab him in the back or give away a secret identity or something, which doesn't make any sense. It's like, I don't think so. Kind of a dumb thing to tease. But I mean, they did that with the New 52 version of Superman. Of course, everybody hated it, and they ended up killing that character to bring this Superman back. So I hope they're not trying to follow up on that mistake. But yeah, overall, the artwork was nice. The artwork, it's Gleason and Sanchez, which are names that I don't recognize, but it had the same look as Patrick Tomasai and well, no, wait, is that Pat Gleason? Maybe I do recognize this. Now, of course, as soon as I say that, I'm like, wait a minute.
It's either Pat or Paul Gleason, something like that.
Yeah, Patrick Gleason. Okay, so it is Patrick Gleason. I do know who that is. All right, because I was going to say it had the look of the Superboy, Super Family stuff that had been going on. So yeah, that is him. But yeah, so the new villains that they show in here are interesting. There's some sort of street level gang, and they know how to continue to operate crime. That's one of the themes in this book. In this particular issue is the reporters are sitting around the newsroom going, people still commit crimes in Metropolis? Like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, Superman's here. This should be the safest city, which is one of those things that a lot of people that don't like Superman will throw out there. It's like, why would anybody commit a crime in Metropolis? You'd never get away with it. And this is something that, the book kind of deals with. So it's interesting. And I definitely say that this feels a lot better than that Superman #1. So I'm hoping this is a step in the right direction and not just, just a wayward good issue that comes in the middle of his run. But so far, I'm more hopeful than I was after reading the other stuff Bendis has done.
Sure. I was about to say, like I said, it's Bendis, so you never can tell.
Yeah, I know. It's hard to say. But at least it didn't. I'll give it credit for this. It didn't get into the talkie Bendis thing where he has like a whole page of someone having a conversation with word balloons like, huh? What do you mean? Well, like I said, you were talking. Yeah, I heard you. Well, what were you saying? I told you it was at the movie. Which movie? The one with the guy. Which guy? And he does that. It's a whole page where nothing gets said, but there's 10,000 words. And this didn't do any of that stuff. So that's good.
Yeah, Q3. Come on, you just spoiled it. So I guess the question I had, so I think you may have said this earlier. So it does or does not tie into the mini series and the stuff he's doing?
It does. It doesn't. It doesn't feel like the next chapter of that series, but it feels like it's in the same universe as that series. And it definitely talks about certain stuff. Like in that series, Lois and Jonathan go off with Jor-El into space, and so they're gone. And so this will talk about people come up and say something to Clark Kent. They're like, "What happened to Lois? Why did she leave you?" That kind of stuff. So it feels connected, but it doesn't feel like it's a direct tie-in. Like you had to read that in order to read this, but having read that does help you in reading this.
And that was going to be my next question, so you just answered that. Great.
All right. Anything else on that one?
Now we're good on that one. So I will pop out a couple of other quickies. What is your last one? A quickie? Or you want something to kind of go into?
No, I can do it as a fast one.
Okay, then I'll do a couple more, and then we can do rapid fire. Pow, 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 pew. Marvel 2-in-1 number 8. And I know you said you haven't read it, so I won't go too far into this. And I will just say that if you read the end of 7, then you know where they are. They're still there. They're trapped, and they're basically this is not so much of a spoiler, but they're still the same place they are, and this focuses on Ben and Johnny in the time that they've been where they are trapped because wow, I just forgot her name. Raja, whatever her name is, left. Her and Doom kind of left. So this has Ben and Johnny in the time, which looks like it's been a couple of months since.
Oh, really? They've been trapped that long in Battleworld?
They have been trapped that long, and they are basically hiding in plain sight, and because the spider is still after them. And I want to say one more thing that happens in this, but I won't. But let's just say that something you've been expecting to happen, or that should have happened by now, has happened.
Okay.
But it was a good issue. Like it's some things got out there, you know. And,
does it feel like it's wrapping up to you, or does it feel like it's going to keep going?
Judging by the
well, because they've announced that Fantastic Four is coming back, obviously. So, does it feel like this series is going to go away, or does it feel like it's going to keep going? Do you think?
Let's put it this way. I feel like it could keep going, but that is not to say that even with judging with what happens at the end of the issue, that's not really saying that hey, they couldn't have a couple more in them and then just So it's kind of hard to tell. Like it's kind of like, yeah, I could see where they could kind of keep this going, but at the same time, it probably could be ending because of the Fantastic Four. Like given the number of books and the things that are coming back, from the past, I don't see why they and just take it back to the old formula,
Right.
So, but yeah, it could go either way, but I'm probably thinking they could just end it by Fantastic Four by the time Fantastic Four comes by.
Yeah.
Which would be a shame, but I don't know. But yeah, if you've been keeping up with what's been going on in this book, you should read it. That I will definitely say.
Okay.
What's next?
So, Star Wars Lando Double or Nothing, number 3. Actually, that should have been rapid fire, but that's fine. So Lando's still in the wasteland. He's doing a lot of talking, but at least you can say he's kind of backing up some of the. So my one thing about the way this has been written. So if you did not know, this takes place before the Solo movie. So he still has a Falcon. He's with L3 and all that kind of good jazz. And he's on a mission. Well, he's Lando, so he's helping out somebody for money, but he got separated from that person and got caught by people who were looking for him also, and would definitely benefit from other people, by knowing where he is. But that doesn't last that long. He gets out of that situation and ends up back on the Falcon and on the run. But he still had this other side mission to help these people he said he was going to do. But the Empire is coming in, so we'll see how that turns out. Like I said, at this point, I'm willing to say that other Lando, in fact, I would probably say that anyway, that other Lando miniseries is a way better miniseries than this. This is not bad. It's just that he in this one is, and if you've seen Solo, they've kind of taken that version of Lando and just kind of blown it out, which I have a slight problem with, because yes, that is him, but that's not all him. But you do get some good. At least you can see in this one that okay, yeah, he's not all talk. Like he is talk, but he's actually doing some action. You know, and
Well, see, that's
right.
one thing I really liked about the other Lando series that they did, 2 years ago or whatever it was, is that you saw him as a very cunning and manipulative, a guy who's playing a game of chess while everyone else is playing checkers type of thing. I don't like him as the kind of cheap action hero.
And
thing.
they
You know what I mean?
that far into that. However, he's just more bravado. But like I said, he does back it up with some action, but he's more bravado in this one than either one of those. And that kind of puts me off just a bit because I was like, okay, I get he's younger and sure, he's had a lot going on in his life, and yeah, it's not like he's to the chest. He's not fully to the chest yet, but he's starting to get there. Let's put it that way.
Right. But see, I like him better as the guy who, like, he's cornered, the guns are pointed at him, you think there's no way out of this, and then suddenly the wall behind him drops and there's 50 guys with machine guns. You know what I mean? It's like, I like Lando as that, master of manipulation and setting things up and letting you think that you're about to win and then reversing it on you type of stuff.
And whereas in this, he's like, hey, don't you know who I am, Lando Calrissian? You must not have heard of me, and this and the other. And somehow he actually gets out of, but he does. There seems to be a plan forming while he's doing all of this, or he finds a way to, he definitely makes it out.
Right.
He's at one move instead of three. Let's put it that way.
Right.
Basically talking until he figures out, okay, well, I could do this, and then enacts his plan. So you can kind of see shades of that, but it's just more wrapped in bravado and, in him about himself. Like he's even they don't do it in this one. He's even doing like talking journals. Because he do his memoirs one day, and I think they might have saw shades of that in the solo movie. I can't remember, but so they're playing on all of that as opposed to the classic Lando. Which, like I said, I get it. He's supposed to be a younger version of Lando, and this is before Solo and all that. But I was like, okay, maybe tone that down a little bit. But maybe at the end of this, we're going to see him start to get more and more into that.
Right.
I kind of doubt it because given how this is set before Solo, and maybe not. Who knows? So yeah, that's Lando Double or Nothing number 3. And you know what's? X-Men Wakanda Forever, and then we can go because I only got a couple more after that, and then we can go into rapid fire. So this is the second chapter of the Wakanda Forever one-shot stories. It's still being written by Nnedi Okorafor. At the end of last issue, we found out that Nakia, aka Malice, is going after Storm, which she just so happens to be in New York with Rogue and Nightcrawler, doing grocery shopping because it's. Why have an X-Men story where they're not getting attacked in some kind of shopping outlet, shopping mall or whatever? Well, this is not a mall this time, but anyway. So, Nakia finds her, attacks her. Her, Rogue, and Nightcrawler, do their best to stave it off, and then the Dora Milaje come in, and that's. Okay, weird. The Dora Milaje coming off, and then they enact the plan to defeat this weapon that Nakia has, which is basically this drum that has this cloud in it that's supposed to protect, but it's a Dora Milaje thing that they're not supposed to use to hurt people, but to protect them. But Malice is using it for malice. It gets broken, and the thing that's within the drum gets out and gets stronger. So Storm has to fight it. And they kind of take care of that situation to a point. But then it kind of flips back to, Nakia's grand plan, which is all she's been wanting to do, because all she's been wanting to do is see T'Challa, aka the Black Panther, because she's been fixated. So if you did not know the comic version of Nakia, and I've said this last time we talked about this, she was fixated on T'Challa and wanted to marry him, and she even went so far as to killing his killing and or trying to kill and hurting one of his girlfriends. And this story kind of has a flashback to a young Nakia meeting Storm when I want to say this might have been after. It seemed like it was after. Actually, I don't know if it is. It could have been either before Storm and T'Challa got married, or somewhat after they were kind of on decent terms. Which that could have been the case because they were not on great terms after that happened up until relatively recent. So I'm thinking it might have been before that. But then that cuts to, like I said, now and when she finds them in New York and all that kind of good stuff. So they have the fight. You know, the plan is enacted by the Dora. The X-Men do their part, and then at the end, you should guess who pops up, which sets up the next and last chapter of this in Avengers Wakanda Forever, and that would be the Black Panther, aka T'Challa. Or at least I'm thinking it is. I mean, it could be an elaborate plan. An elaborate hoax, but I doubt it. It could, or it might actually be him. So it's a pretty decent read. Like the Spider-Man one from last week, a couple of weeks ago, was probably a little more fun because it's Spidey in it, and you know they're kind of joking around with him. They kind of hit it off a little bit better than I thought they would have. This one's a little bit more. All right, hey, we got this action, and you know, more action packed and going into things. But it was still
are these different writers, or is it the same writer?
Same writer. It's just three different one shots. Now, actually, I take that back. So I'm assuming that because definitely the last one and this one are the same writer, and I'm assuming the next one is also, because they haven't said otherwise. But we'll find out in a couple of weeks. But I think it is, though, because I know she wrote the first one. That wouldn't make any sense not to write the next one. But like I said, as a whole, this will probably make for a good, fun. You know, especially the Spider-Man one. The Spider-Man was pretty fun, and this one was cool. But you know, it's just like a standard, you know, action thing. And who knows what the Avengers one will get back be like, but we'll see that in a couple of weeks. So, if you're a fan of the Dora, if you're a fan of the Dora and their pairings, then hey, you know.
For a second, I thought you said if you're a fan of Dora, like you were going to talk about. If you're a fan of Dora the Explorer, then this is the one that you need. I was like, what? Where is he going with this? I don't get it.
The Dora Milaje, yes. So then this is decent.
Okay, so I hit the wrong button. Were you wanting to do rapid fire, or do you have one more?
Actually, yes, because I only got a couple of books, and they can kind of. You have to Vulcan.
There you go, rapid fire.
I heard absolutely nothing.
You had nothing? Uh-oh. I hope my sound effects are working. You heard that one? Okay, well.
Weirdly enough, we can talk about that later, but it seemed to go up in sound when it gets to the end of it. But I don't know what's going on there. Either way, we did hear that. So rapid fire, you said you had something.
Yeah, the only book I have is Sentry, Sentry number 2. I like how he's holding Sentry's belt like it's the world championship. But, you know, that's neither here nor there. But one thing about Sentry, I said last issue was that Jeff Lemire was doing a good job of making him into a sympathetic character, which is kind of tough to do because everybody hates the Sentry. It seems like everybody, every man, woman, child familiar with comics hates the Sentry. And so I felt like he put an interesting twist on it. And he made him sympathetic. And the question was, could he carry that into the second issue? And I think he does. In this, so basically what's happened is working with Tony Stark and Doctor Strange, they've created this device that allows him to go into a pocket dimension where he can become the Sentry. He lets out the Void. They can have a fight. He defeats the Void. He comes back out into the real world. And then the Void power has dissipated and they don't have to worry about it coming back into reality. Well, someone has stolen his device and gone into this pocket dimension. And so now he can't get in there to become the Sentry to let out the Void power in this safe space. So time is counting down and he's going to have problems. So he's struggling, trying to find a way. He really, you get the sense, you know, before when he wanted to be Sentry, he wanted to be the hero. Like he wanted to have that moment of being brave and being strong and have everybody like him. And now you're getting the sense that he really is concerned about everybody else. He wants to stop bad things from happening, not to get credit, but because it's the right thing to do, to stop the evil from happening. So I think he's doing a great job with this series. I think he is making Sentry so far into a sympathetic and likable character. Whether or not it can maintain, keep going, we'll see. But I know Sentry is a character that has a lot of baggage, you know, especially the way he was thrown into the Marvel universe and all the lies and everything that surrounded the creation of the character. So, yeah, well, but so you know, honestly, like I think people should give this a chance. Anybody who likes those screwball, well, not screwball, but those kind of off, like Weird World. The way it kind of skewed things a little differently. If you read the series from 2 years ago, whenever it was, the Black Knight series, that tied into Weird World, some of that stuff where you have kind of this expectation of what it's going to be, but then the series kind of plays with that and twists it and turns it into something else. And that's what I see going on with the Sentry here. Is they're kind of getting away from all of that other baggage he's had, and they're trying to write kind of a new paradigm for the character, building on that history, not completely destroying it, but building on it so that now what happened in the past is being overshadowed by all the cool stuff that's going on now. So definitely anybody who's got a few extra bucks in your pocket, I think you should be reading Sentry. I think it's a lot of fun.
Kind of sounds like what they're doing, trying to do with Venom, from what I'm reading.
Yeah, which was in my list to read, and I just have my pile. I just haven't gotten to it yet.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Well, let's see. Multiple Man #2, which you said you were going to read this one also.
Yeah, right? I've got it sitting right here to read.
So I won't say too much about it outside of that. Well, it could be kind of confusing, but not really. But it's kind of fun and weird. Because if you remember what happened last issue, there's a lot of time stuff going on, and multiple different versions of him coming into the picture, and this is him going off with them to try to fix whatever big bad thing is going on, and a little bit of calamity and chaos happens. A little fun calamity and chaos happens in the midst of it. Leading to an end that partially I didn't see coming. Well, I guess I kind of did see coming because it kind of said something, but not the way it happened. Let's just say. So we still don't know what exactly what's the end goal of this book is, but it is Matthew Rosenberg, and his books have been fun and actually has had some decent stuff, even if they are separated.
Last time when we talked about Multiple Man 1, we were talking about the name sounded familiar, but we couldn't remember some of the other stuff he had written. And I realized he's the guy writing Punisher. And yes, Punisher right now is really good. And that's another one that came out this week in my stack to read. I just haven't gotten to it yet. But yeah, Rosenberg has done a really good job on Punisher.
He started writing Punisher. I thought he hadn't started yet. I thought
no. He's as far as I know, he's the one doing the whole the roadie. The War Machine, that's the name. War Machine stuff.
Okay. Yeah, because I knew he was going to be on it. I didn't know he was on it now. So, but yeah, Rosenberg. Yeah, he's also did Secret Warriors. He also did a few things in the past. I don't know. Secret Warriors was, I think, that was the last one he did, and a couple other books that I liked by him.
Oh, New Mutants.
Oh yeah, that's right. That one that's out now. That miniseries that's out now. Yeah.
But yeah, I pulled up his Marvel page real quick. But yeah, he's got Astonishing X-Men, Multiple Men, New Mutants, Tales of Suspense.
Oh, yes, right. The Bucky the Bucky Clint story.
Bucky, Hawkeye, yeah. Also the Phoenix Resurrection, The Return of Jean Grey.
I'm
not familiar with that one. I didn't read that one, but anyway.
But regardless, he's done some pretty decent stuff. In fact, probably that Tales of Suspense is probably going to come up at the end of the year, I would imagine. Because it was... Yeah, that was this year. Because it just ended a couple of months. And so did Secret Warriors. But nevertheless, yeah, so Multiple Man, I'm kind of... we'll see how that turns out. But it's kind of goofy in spots.
Yeah, and actually, I'm not even a big fan of the X-Men books in the last 25 years. So even I enjoyed the first issue of Multiple Man enough to pick up the second issue. So I mean, that's got to say something right there.
Pretty much, like, and yeah, I kind of picked it up for him more off than because like you, yeah, I hadn't really been into the X books that often. I mean, there's been a couple of here and there that's kind of like, all right, yeah, that's all right, but
right.
Yeah, but not so much. And so actually, speaking of X books, my last one is Mr. and Mrs. X #1, which so if you've read X-Men Gold 30, you know that Kitty and Colossus didn't get married, but Gambit and Rogue did. So this, and they also had their own miniseries on the side of that led up to, I guess, pretty much kind of led up to it. Called Rogue and Gambit, where they were off doing their thing, and they kind of got back together in a big way, and which is again leading up to this. So they are at this point. This issue goes through the marriage kind of. They don't really go. Well, they do, because they basically start at the wedding, and then they have the wedding stuff, but they don't necessarily go through the whole procedure. But you know, it starts at the wedding. Some things happen there, and then you see them at the honeymoon doing honeymoon things. And then what normally happens in these X books, they get interrupted by a mission that comes about because where they are, and Kitty asks them for help because you know it's not an X book without something just interrupting them folks. So they go off to do this mission, which they're out in space because that's where they chose to do their honeymoon. Kitty calls them up, has a mission for them, and it ended up going kind of a ways. So they meet up with some characters that we have seen in the past that from out in space from the X-Men universe, but you know, we don't know what their full thing is about it. We just know that they're after something, and like I said, Rogue and Gambit are tasked with bringing something home, which meets with a roadblock, and them getting separated, and another X person ends up showing up at the end of this book, to which one of them has had some dealings with in the past, and I won't say who, but it's a fairly popular character, and we'll see how that goes. But yeah, so it was a pretty good start to this thing. I don't know. I guess, well, this is ongoing. I'm assuming. I think so.
Yeah, as far as I'm aware, it's ongoing.
So we'll see where it goes from there and where it takes our wedded couple. But it, like I said, it was a pretty good start, though. I enjoyed it.
And that book is also Tim Dogg's Click of the Week.
It is. That it is. I was going to say that, but sure. Yeah. And actually, give me a chance to do this. Boom. Cool. So you have one more. You said you had one more. That was it.
No, I'm done with books this week.
Well, so which means with that nice segue that you just did, Clicks of the Week, and we just heard Tim's. Do you have yours by chance?
Actually, I am, and I'm going to make nerds rage all over the world. I'm going to pick Century #2 as my my Click of the Week.
All right, interesting. Yeah, I'm not gonna say I'm a rage, but I have a curiosity of this one. I don't care. I care very little, nothing about the character. But I will definitely check out the first couple of issues of the year. So I don't know. We'll see. And what is that?
What?
I was hearing something. I don't know what was going on.
Someone shut a door upstairs at my house. I don't know if maybe that's what you heard.
I don't know. Either way, for myself, interesting enough, I am going to go with Marvel 2-in-1 #8. Because I almost went with Tim on that one about Mr. and Mrs. X, but thinking back on Marvel 2-in-1 and what happens to it in there, yeah, that one kind of resonated. That's so you should check out Marvel 2-in-1 if you have any kind of if you liked anything about the Fantastic Four in the past and they're coming back, whether this is actually going to play into this that heavily as it's trying to do, or this is just kind of a means to get there.
Okay. Well, then I've got one more thing. It's already been a little after an hour, so I'm gonna have to leave here in a minute. But before I go, I do have one more thing to talk about real quick, and that is I got some of the 100-page giants from my local Walmart. And if you're not familiar with these, DC has made a deal with Walmart to put these books in there. Some stores have them with like the trading cards and that stuff. I've seen some stores that put them in the toy department. Some stores have put them with the books and magazines. So it depends on your store. You may have to hunt around to try to find them. We have one store completely sold out. One store, the store where I found these three, had an extra of Superman, extra of Justice League, but they were sold out of Batman. And I heard there's a fourth book, and I don't have the fourth book. So I have to keep an eye open for that. But what these are... What?
I thought it was only 3.
Oh, is it only 3? Okay. Well, maybe it is.
Maybe, I don't know. Unless they say, hey, this is doing good, we'll put out another one.
But so these are 100 pages, more or less, and they're $4.99, and they're printed on the not slick paper stock. It's that rough paper stock. It's not quite newsprint, like you remember back in the day. It's kind of like the stuff that everything came out on in like the late 90s, early 2000s, where it wasn't plastic coated shiny. It was still kind of rough, but it's that paper. It's a little cheaper than what we get nowadays, but
right. Have you held a copy of X-Men Grand Design?
Yes, it's similar to that. Yeah.
Is that same paper?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
But so that's one reason why it's $4.99 is that it's not that super slick shiny paper. The other thing is that it's mostly reprint material. So what they've done is, like, say in this Justice League one, they have an original Wonder Woman story, and it's like 15 pages, 10 pages, something like that, and then it reprints Justice League #1 from the Rebirth, and something else. There's another. I forget what the other one is. Maybe it's Aquaman #1 is reprinted, and Flash #1 reprinted. So it's like those 3 reprint books and then their new story that they add on there, and that's how you get your 100 pages. And so the idea is they're going to reprint those series basically in these thick books as long as Walmart is going to carry them. So if you were interested in those, maybe whatever you want to try to sample some different stuff from the DC universe, check it out. You can pick that up. They do have an ad in 2 of them, but not all 3 of them, for the comic shop locator service. So you can find your local comic shop. So if you read something and you're like, oh, that's good, I want to check out my local shop, they put it in 2 of them, but not the 3rd one. And I don't know why they did that. But like,
which one was it? Which one was it?
I don't remember.
Okay.
I'd have to go back and dig through. But like Superman is interesting because it reprints an older series, the Batman Superman crossover series with it was Ed McGuinness, I think, Joe Kelly. But anyway, the one from the early 2000s.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
So it reprints that. But like it also reprints the Terrifics, the new Terrifics series, #1. So I guess they're just trying to get some more eyeballs on that. So they're throwing it in there, even though like issue 3 or 4 just came out or something like that. It's already getting reprinted here. I don't remember which one it was. Came out this week, but yeah. So there's that, and then Batman, which again has a new story, but then the first part of Hush is reprinted here, and then the new.
That makes sense.
Yeah, the new 52 version of Nightwing and Harley Quinn get reprinted in here. So there's some classic stuff. Like if you haven't read Hush or you didn't read that first arc of Justice League, it's a neat thing to go out and you're like, okay, you're going to read it every month as it comes out, just like when it originally came out. But it also has original stories. So if you're one of those collectors like me, who's like, hey, we got to get that original material, then you're going to have to go hunt these down in order to find that original material. But I mean, it is fun. And it's, the thing is, I've read, you know, the new stories in here are the only thing that's new to me. I've read all the other stuff, but I still sat down and read all 100 pages. It's like, I've read these books before, and I, you know, no point in the last year was I like, I need to reread all of the Rebirth New 52 stuff of Nightwing. Like, it never, you know, never have I thought that, but yet it came here in this. So I was like, oh yeah, okay, Nightwing, I'll just read through it again. Why not? So, but definitely a value, $4.99 for the 100 pages, thick book. That's a good idea. So we'll see.
Because we talked about it before, that these were going to happen, I was like $4.99 for 100 pages, as opposed to these $4.99 books for way less stuff.
Yeah, well, now it's $3.99 for 22 pages, or $4.99 for 31 pages is what you're paying nowadays. So
yeah, that's definitely a value if you're curious about, you know, so there's no Trinity stuff in that Justice League one, or any of?
No, but that's not to say, you know, in a year they wouldn't put it in there, or, you know, some of the stuff like they started with Justice League #1, so they might do the first trade's worth, they might do the first 6 issues, and then jump to Trinity. Gotcha. Or they might do, you know, with every arc, or they might do it by year, or the whole thing may fall apart in 5 months and Walmart doesn't carry them anymore anyway. We'll just have to wait and see. But honestly, like, that's a really good idea. The price is cheap enough. You know, you're not getting a full comic's worth of new material, but that's a good way to get a lot of product out in front of people, get some eyeballs on it, and try to get some more interest.
An oversized sampler.
Yeah.
So, especially if you're like one that's like, well, I know of these people from the movies or the cartoons and stuff, but I haven't really read the.
Yeah, and you do get, I mean, you're getting 3 full issues. So it's not like those sampler books that they have a lot of times where you get like 6 pages or 9 pages, you know, of the story. It's like there's 3 full issues and then the short news story that gets put in there. And the news stories are even serialized. It's even part 1. So it's not like it wraps up in that first one. So like the Superman one, he's fighting like this tornado hits a small town. He's trying to help everybody out. He looks off in the distance and there's like 5 tornadoes, superstorm coming. And that's the cliffhanger for the next issue, you know? So it is adding a new story that's more than just, you know, 6 pages of a character study in there. It's a, you know, new ongoing thing. So it's a neat idea, and I hope it does well. I'm lking forward to it.
Yeah, that seems neat. I might have to go and try to hunt those down, actually.
That was wonderful. Bravo. I loved that. That was great.
And that being the case, I guess, or you said you're.
Yeah, it's a quarter after. I'm going to have to take off here.
Not a problem. So as we bid adieu to Sir Dirt, thank you for coming by, sir.
Have fun doing 3 hours of news from San Diego Comic-Con by yourself.
It'd be a blast, especially after last week. Anything you found from you know, that you was from San Diego that was kind of...
No.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of stuff that came out that made me shake my head, you know, like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And you know, the funny thing is that a lot of the stuff that would, in years past, would have either made me super excited or super angry, I've gotten so much now to the point where it's just like, I don't care anymore. You know, it's like there's so many books. They've ruined so many books. They've ruined so many TV shows and movies that anymore I just don't. It's like, whatever's going to happen is going to happen. You know, it's not worth it.
Comics have to change.
So. All right. Well, anyway, I'll see you.
Yeah, man. We'll take it easy. And that was PCN_Dirt. You can find him at his various places, which I will talk about that later on. But we are going to get into the news. But first, as we do about this time, we are going to do an ad read. I think I'll pull up. And this episode of the Comic Book Chronicles is sponsored by Busted Tees, your home for funny, awesome, cool tees that are sure to get your friends' attention. Busted Tees puts many of their popular shirt designs on sale each week. Choose from several eye-catching t-shirts inspired by pop culture. heavily themed t-shirts inspired by the movies, video games, TV shows, comic books, geek culture, etc., and much more on sale. To help keep our podcast free, order from Busted Tees by going to cspn.us. That's cspn.us. Then clicking on the Keep Our Podcast Free link. Click on the Busted Tees banner and then shop for awesome t-shirts. Busted Tees through cspn.us. Do it today. Well, I looked over to the side. I might have to do that anyway, because we are now into the cinematic news. And we start off with cinematic news, like I said, with Adrian Palicki seems to want Mockingbird to join the Black Widow movie. So yes, we know the Black Widow movie is going to be a thing. Adrian Palicki, who plays Mockingbird on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., wants a piece of that. I would also like to see that realistically, because she was awesome as Mockingbird. I don't know what they would do about that, or we don't even know what the Black Widow movies are going to be at the point. But hey, nevertheless, that's what she wants it to happen. It's probably never going to happen because they don't like to mix the TV shows and the movies. So yeah. Comcast drops its bid to buy Fox, meaning there's nothing stopping the Disney deal. And I just realized where my mic was. That was real crazy. So there's nothing stopping the Disney deal now. So it is only a matter of time before the conglomerate known as Disney, the big mouse monster, is going to have another acquisition of Fox, which means for comic folks, the X-Men and the Fantastic Four, etc., will be coming home unless something snags on. Although there was a story about some Fox shareholders trying to counter the bid so that it won't happen for whatever odd reason. And I don't know what happened with that because I hadn't heard too much else more from them. But hey, either we'll be telling you that it happened, we'll be telling you that somebody's blocking it again. Regardless, Don Cheadle joins DuckTales cast as Donald Duck. Now you may be asking yourself, like, wait, what? And yeah, I will say this. There is on the Disney XD YouTube channel, I believe it was. I will try to put it in the show notes because I forgot to put it in there. Don Cheadle is talking about what he's bringing to the character. It's actually a pretty neat video. He's an amusing guy. I like Don Cheadle. He's probably the best roadie also. There was even actually an Infinity War little, not a jab, but a little joke in there he puts in while he's talking. So basically, the voice of the regular voice of Donald Duck is still going to be there. He's just playing an alternate voice because from what I saw of the clip in that YouTube video, something happens, which I won't spoil because you may be watching DuckTales, and you should because it's a good show. Something happens and his voice ends up changing to the voice of Don Cheadle. Because again, like I said, the YouTube clip that I'm going to put in the show notes is going to have that. So the next season will start on August 18th, right before my birthday at 9:30 a.m. I need to catch up on this season because I hear it was pretty good. Nevertheless, moving on. Into the Spider-Verse confirms Spider-Man Noir, Spider-Ham, and Penny Parker. So, and I think somebody was asking about where excuse me, where Spider-Ham was, and now it's confirmed that Spider-Ham is going to be in this film that bunch of people, including myself, are waiting for. We also get another picture, as you can see if you're watching the video, a picture of Spider-Man, Spider-Gwen, aka Ghost Spider, sure, whatever, and Miles Morales, all spider senses tingling. And I think they said, let me see the voice cast here. It doesn't matter. The voice cast is what you probably heard about now, and I'm sure there'll be other. Oh, here we go. Yeah, that's what other thing. So Nicolas Cage, previously rumored to be playing Spider-Man Noir, which apparently has been confirmed that is the case. Kimiko Glenn will be playing Penny Parker. John Mulaney is playing Spider-Ham. So there is that, which I don't know too much about John Mulaney, but yeah, sure, that makes sense. Shamik Moore is playing Miles Morales. Haley Stanfield, aka also of Bumblebee fame and other things, is playing Gwen Stacy, and Jake Johnson is playing Peter Parker. Shamik Moore, I know that name from somewhere, and I don't know where, and I'm not gonna look it up at this point. Either way, that's a thing. Avengers Black Panther's Quest books major voice talent as series locks release date. So yes, so Panther's Quest is the basically of Avengers Assembled, but they usually have a subtitle of it, and Black Panther's Quest is the title of this 5th season, which I haven't seen that show in probably a good couple seasons. I think I watched some of the first season and kind of fell off of it. But the show's coming back on September 23rd. It's going to have some Black Panther notable villains such as Killmonger, played by Keston John, M'Baku, Claw, played by Trevor Paul, Zemo, Madam Mask, who's played by Wynn Everett, and Tiger Shark, played by Matt Mercer. Nice. Oh, okay. Oh. I'm sorry. So Wynn Everett also played Madam Mask in Agent Carter, the live action version of Agent Carter. So okay, I did not know that. Also, Daisy Lightfoot will be playing Shuri. Scott Porter is Bucky. But the real news, or the big news out of this article, is that Stan Lee and Mark Hamill will both be having voice parts in the show. We don't know what Mark Hamill's. Actually, we don't know what either one of them will be voicing. This article is speculation. Stan Lee is going to be voicing himself. Makes sense, but we will see. Mark Hamill, we still don't know. I would wager a villain, because he's good at that. You know, you don't need me to tell you why we can figure that one out. But nevertheless, 'tis a thing. So this is some of the big news from the week. I won't spend too much time on this because it's a lot and it's exhausting. Writer-director James Gunn fired from Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 over offensive tweets. It should be noted that these tweets are like 10 years old. That's not excusing anything, because he did say some real bad shit that I'm kind of surprised he got hired. But nevertheless, so what actually happened leading up to this was, so recently James Gunn has been a proponent against the current administration and the orange tyrant known as Donald Trump that is now the president. And he's been speaking out against the president. Well, some guy named something or other, Mike Cernovich, went out on Twitter. Mike Cernovich, who's an alt-left person, so yeah, take that for what it is. And he's also been a part of that Pizzagate conspiracy and a whole bunch of other stuff. That's, he's basically pro-Trump also. So he's been kind of going after people that's been speaking out against Trump. So he dug up a bunch of James Gunn's old tweets from like 10 years ago, and it presented that to Disney, and that's what caused Disney to fire James Gunn. Now, all I'm going to say about this situation is a couple of things. One, stuff comes back at you. So y'all need to be careful out there on the social media man, because I don't feel it's a weird situation, because I'm like, okay, one, things come at you. You know what? That's the first takeaway from it. So, you kind of reap for what you sow. And just because he's gotten better over the years doesn't mean that he still hadn't had some of this stuff with it, in him or whatnot. Who's to say? Don't know. Regardless, Disney hired him knowing or maybe may or not be knowing that the stuff was out there, and knowing this kind of stuff he's done in the past, movie wise. I'm not talking like any other stuff, but they hired him. They got 2 movies out of him. And then this person came out with these tweets And there's been a lot of people getting fired for stuff, rightfully so, mind you, for doing dumb stuff and saying some stuff. So the train, I'm not going to sit here and say that train needs to stop, because it really doesn't. Because the more we get these offensive people out of this place, the better. But this case right here, I don't know. Like I said, I was torn about this, but I'm still on the side of, you reap what you sow, and that's what happened to him. He could be a better person now, and it's a shame that he got fired for stuff that, if that was the case, he got fired for stuff that happened 10 years ago, but he did say some real bad shit back then. And I don't know, Disney is well within his right to do what it feels on that situation, but at the same time, I'm like, well, did they not know he did this stuff and in the past? Like, did they not check? Regardless, it is what it is. And it is a still developing story, because a lot of things happen since then, such as James Gunn apologizing for for the jokes that got him fired, and also a bunch of fans launched a petition, because of course they do, to get James Gunn rehired, which, I don't know. Like, would you really want to go back to knowing that you get, knowing that happened, like the way it kind of went down? I don't know. Also, a bunch of celebrities have been speaking out, in defense of James Gunn. I don't, whatever. There's even one that was in defense. I mean, not even defense of, but against James Gunn and the people who were defending him, which I'm not even going to bring that ball of crazy up. But yeah, people like David Bautista, who obviously worked on Guardians of the Galaxy movie, Michael Rooker. I know Chris Pratt and Zoe Saldana finally said something, but theirs were kind of not necessarily in defense of, but they were just kind of, said some things. Just put this way. If you're watching the video, you can see their tweets from that, and also from Karen Gillan. Michael Rooker, for some strange reason, left Twitter because of this, and I don't know what Twitter has to do with Disney firing. With Disney firing. Well, I mean, let me rephrase that. We know what what that had to do with it, but like, okay, he got off of Twitter because this happened. When I'm like, okay, well, shouldn't you be going after Disney, who actually did the firing? But regardless, and he has some statement which you can see here. He's not going to use Twitter again, but he'll probably be back in a couple of years. Who knows? I really don't know. Don't care. Anyway, that is that. You can read up on that all you like, because it's been, if you haven't seen it by now, I don't know what rock you've been under, because it's just been a thing. And I've said, try to be as objective as I can about the stuff, but at the same time, it is what it is. Avengers 4, Jeremy Renner declares it's time to suit up. So yeah, he's on his Instagram and he says, got this feeling I need to suit up again. And you see a picture of him that looks like it's been taken from a movie shot, which could very well have been. And he's also hashtag a bunch of things. So I guess this is confirming that he's going to be in Avengers 4 after not being in Avengers Infinity War, which I guess makes sense because like he was the only one of the original cast that was not in Infinity War, and I guess, and this also says that, hey, he's still around. Whether he will be hitting the rumored Ronin mark or coming back in as Hawkeye, who knows? But you know, that movie's still a good ways away, or aka next year. We will see. The first Titans trailer is a brutal introduction to another very dark DC universe. So the live action Titans, which we talked a little bit of a little bit ago, live action Titans show is coming on the DC universe, which is the DC's streaming service that is coming out relatively soon. We got a trailer for it. I still have yet to watch this trailer, but all I have heard was a rousing chorus of F Batman that supposedly came out of it. And of course, people are still being assholes. And yeah, I know I said F and then I said asshole, so forgive me for that one. About Anna Diop playing Starfire. She's an orange alien, folks. Why are you beefing about but people do the same thing they do all the time when there's a black person that's in a role that they don't like. And it's dumb. Like, she's playing an orange alien. Get over it. But there's still a lot of that happening, and there are people that either like or don't like this trailer. There is a lot of people just like talking the F Batman thing also, which is kind of funny. Which leads us to the next story in that, actually, that's not the next story I was trying to get to, but Jeff Johns reveals why Robin says F Batman in the Titans trailer. I mean, it's kind of obvious reasons. They had a falling out. I mean, because, yeah, unless he was doing F, Marry, Kill, which somebody, I think somebody did on Twitter, so that's not an original thought by me, but I thought it was funny when I saw that tweet. Anywho, Donna Troy and Jason Todd confirmed for DC's Titans TV show. So, yeah, 2 more Titans in the mix, or maybe a Titan and we don't know. I assume they're all going to be Titans. But yeah, so the former Connor Leslie is playing Wonder Girl, and it says who's playing. Doesn't really say who's playing Jason Todd. But hey. Oh, I'm sorry. No, Connor Leslie is rumored to be Wonder Girl, looks like, I guess. So yeah. So that's the thing. It's coming. Swamp Thing TV series won't share continuity with Titans and Doom Patrol. So I guess that's good to know. They're not pulling the Arrowverse thing with this universe. Although you would think that would be the place where they could and probably should do that. Although Doom Patrol is a weird thing anyway, so I don't know what the heck that's gonna be. So yeah, Swamp Thing's gonna be its own thing. Man-Thing. That's Marvel's thing. Stargirl live action series coming to DC Universe from Jeff Johns and Greg Berlanti. So basically, the people behind Berlanti's group that is already behind the Arrowverse is behind this, along with Jeff Johns. Shocker, really shocker. Let's see. Does it say about who's starring? It's going to be 13 episodes, and it's going to appear sometime in 2019. Looks like they don't have any casting things yet, so that's fine. The first trailer for Young Justice Outsiders has arrived. I watched this. I like it. It looks like it basically kind of goes back over things that have happened already in the first. I wouldn't say first 2 seasons, but definitely second season for certain of Young Justice, and kind of get you up to speed to a point of where it's gonna start out. Because at the end of season 2, I know they had already started a new team of Young Justice. I think that might have been one of the last shots we saw. They didn't put that shot in here, but nevertheless, it's a thing. It's a good trailer. You should go check it out. That is also going to be on the DC Universe show. Outsiders, Young Justice Outsiders SDCC artwork reveals Darkseid. So we also found out in that trailer that yes, Darkseid is and Apocalypse is going to play a part of the series. Young Justice Wally West voice actor returns for Outsiders. So cool. The original voice of Wally West in the other couple of seasons is going to be back. Which, oh wait, Okay. He'll be back, but not as Wally West. He will be coming back as a new character, Forager. So, okay, that makes sense. I didn't read this right because there's something that happened to Wally West during the outset of season 2. I'm just not saying that he probably couldn't come back, but as Kid Flash, but we'll see. I actually really want to go back and watch the first 2 seasons of Young Justice again because I enjoyed that show. It's been a while. I may just do that. Young Justice Outsiders trailer actually introduces a Teen Titans and a Teen Titan, and it looks like this article is speculating that Terra, the on again off again Teen Titan, is the one. Which I saw this, but so right, okay, so it'll be Geoforce. Right, Prince Brion and his half-sister Tara, who ends up being Terra, and he ends up being Geoforce at some point, whether that's going to happen here or not. But they do kind of make some allusions to the metagene and them two having it in the course of the trailer. Spoilers, sorry. But anyway, go check that out. Death of Superman Lives director John Schnepp, dead at 51. So the Death of Superman Lives... excuse me. Yes, the Death of Superman Lives is the documentary on the Superman Lives movie that Nicolas Cage was supposed to do. That never happened, probably for the best. But yeah, he apparently just died. He also looks like he directed and co-directed several Venture Brothers shows and Aqua Teen Hunger Force, Space Coast to Coast, and Kablam, and Metalocalypse. So yeah, he will be missing. Oh, he even provided the voice of Dr. Gibbets, or whoever that person is. So, Death of Superman unleashes world premiere at Comic-Con. Now, the Death of Superman is basically the death of the animated version of the Death of Superman, as the name would imply. Yes, there already had been one of these before, but this is a new one because they're also going to do the rebirth of Superman, and it looks like they're going more strictly to the comic version than the last one did, which I guess it kind of kept up. I don't know. I don't remember. It's been a while since I've seen it. I'm hearing good things about this coming out of Comic-Con and I think other places. Jerry Connor and Rebecca Romaine both have parts playing Superman and Lois Lane, and some of the other people are known folks from the animated DCU universe. So, does it say when that comes out? Well, this also gives spoilers on that, so I would just scroll past that. So when is this coming out? Oh, it's out already, actually. It came out on... So Death of Superman flies onto digital July 24th with home video on August 7th. So it is already out there on digital if you hadn't had a chance to check it out. Which brings up to some other news coming out of animated news coming out of San Diego Comic-Con, which is a lot of the stuff is, by the way. Wonder Woman Bloodlines animated movie set for 2019. So basically the same year as the live action sequel to Wonder Woman 1984. This will probably come out before that, though. Let's see, not many more details were released, but yeah, it's coming next year. Also, Justice League faces off the Legion of Superheroes villains in new animated movies. There's also going to be, as we said earlier, Batman Hush is being made into an animated movie, and there's going to be one other one. This one's called, so the Justice League one is called Justice League versus the Fatal Five. Batman is Batman Hush. And what is the other one? I don't see it. Maybe it's in the next article. So yeah. Oop. See. The Reign of Superman. Yeah, that's the other Superman one. That's the other one. That's going to, which is basically the second part of the Death of Superman. Excuse me, Death of the Superman. But it's the other part of the Death of the Superman story. Let's see. Batman the Animated Series Blu-ray Collection box art revealed. So yes, we knew that there's going to be a Blu-ray collection of Batman the Animated Series. You know, it'll be the first time in HD because they're also putting it on DC Universe, and I think they're going to do that first before they put the box out. But this just happens to be a leak from Amazon about it. Well, it's not even a leak. It actually came off in a panel at San Diego. The Blu-ray will be $112 or $113. No pre-order or release date is available at this time, but you know it is coming. I have all of those in DVD form. I'm halfway debating about getting the Blu-ray copy of those and getting rid of those. I don't know. We'll see how that goes. Let's see. Next up, I already did that one. Like I said, we got a lot of news here, folks. Like spilling over to the other side of our sheet. Cartoon Network's DC Superheroes Girls character design. So they had a panel at some concept art that was shown at San Diego Comic-Con. Because there's going to be a DC superhero show, which I think there's already been stuff out there for it. But the new show is going to come out later this year, and they just wanted to put some, show some character art out about that. So cool. The first Aquaman trailer surfaces as Jason Momoa's King of Atlantis dives into Comic-Con. So I saw this video, I saw this trailer, and you should check it out if you haven't already by now. It looks decent. Like, we'll see how the movie's going to look when it comes out. But yeah, they showed us at San Diego Comic-Con, and yeah, speculation pieces away. Also, what showed up at San Diego Comic-Con is the first trailer for DC's Shazam. It's kind of a teaser trailer, but it was cool. You see little bits of his how he came into his powers, and you can definitely see that it's playing a little light. I don't know if it's not necessarily playing light. I shouldn't say that, because I mean, if you know anything about the character Shazam, aka Captain Marvel, it's a little boy who gets the powers of basically Superman, but with lightning in lieu of heat vision and whatnot. He's just the strongest mortal on Earth. So his powers were given to him by the wizard Shazam, which Black Adam didn't look to play in a part of the trailer. But hey, there's also that other thing with The Rock that's going on with that. We don't know whether it could happen in time, but they're not saying that they're tied together. So, but yeah, if you've had a chance to check out the trailer, it's fun. Stop. This is why I hate putting stuff from sites with video, with autoplaying videos. Trying to get away from that, but some of these things can't be helped. And that is Supergirl Season 4 as April Parker Jones as series regular. Jones will play Colonel Haley, a character described as a hardline career military woman who lives and dies by the orders of her commanding officers. Haley's dedication to her country leads her to always act in best interest, even if it means acting against her own. So, cool beans. I have not been keeping up with Supergirl, but I need to catch up. I know this. The Flash casts Chris Klein as Season 5's big villain. Chris Klein, known for his roles in Election and American Pie, and also Street Fighter: The Legend of Chun-Li. Terrible movie, and he was terrible in it. Will play the protagonist and primary antagonist in the upcoming 5th season of The Flash. He is playing supervillain Cicada. I don't know who that is because my Flash knowledge is not that great. So there you go. But it says here he's described by Entertainment Tonight as a cult leader obsessed with the Flash. He will be only the second non-speedster to appear in a major season-long adversary following the Thinker. And then so cool beans. Kevin Smith's Jay and Silent Bob reboot casts the Flash TV stars. So yeah. The only reason why I put this in here was because of the Flash, the TV show connections. Kevin Smith also has directed a couple of episodes of Flash and Supergirl. So yeah, there is that. But he's rebooting Jay and Silent Bob. And that movie is going to have Grant Gustin, Tom Cavanaugh, and Carlos Valdez, a.k.a. Barry, Harry, and Cisco. Let that sink in. I don't know. We'll see it. We'll see how that works. Joker origin movie lands a title and release date, and that title is, this is the live action Joker movie one of the live action Joker movies that no one asked for, but nevertheless, it is coming with Joaquin Phoenix, and it is called. Oh shit! Because there's a lot of stuff here. Oh, it will simply be called Joker, and it's coming out October 4th, before the Wonder Woman movie, which, because I don't care about that, I care about the Wonder Woman movie. Just give me another good Wonder Woman movie like we had. Just scrap this Joker nonsense. Anyway, Joker origin movie will give him, I don't know, I said earlier something about being objective. Yeah, I'm objectively hating on this. Anyway, rumor, Joker origin movie will give him a drastically new alter ego. Yeah, I don't know. This is according to a report by the hashtag shows was a rumor site again, so we don't know. Whatever that alter ego is going to be, sure. All right, whatever. Also, Deadpool 2 actress Zazie Beetz in talks to join Joaquin Phoenix in said Joker movie, possibly as a love interest. That's not Harley Quinn. Oh wait, I'm sorry. If a deal is made, Beetz would play a single mother who catches the interest of the man who would become the clown prince of crime. So yeah, good for Zazie. Terrible. This movie is not necessary. Yes, I said that. In the first trailer for Star Trek Discovery Season 2, the USS Enterprise boldly arrives, which I could have sworn that happened at the end of the first season. But I have not caught up on Discovery. I need to. Can't really call myself a fan of Star Trek if I don't at least give it a chance. Of course, then again, there are people that are calling themselves stars of Star Trek that are poo-pooing all over this for one reason or another. Take it for what it is. And I'm not saying, because it's not saying that Star Trek has had bad shows, because Voyager was not great. It had so much potential, and I liked a lot of the cast, including Kate Mulgrew as a captain, because she was awesome as a captain, but there's just a lot of stuff in there was like, eh. And plus, it was being moved around with the CW and, UPN mergers going on at the time, and it was weird. Nevertheless, I digress, because Star Trek Discovery is here. I'm really hoping this makes 7 seasons like the rest of them, and doesn't go the way of Enterprise after 3, 4, whatever. I still hadn't finished all of Enterprise. Enterprise, another kind of slow, not great one, but I don't know. There's been potential in that one. Anyway, I can talk about Star Trek for a while. But I'm only going to say that there was a Star Trek Discovery panel at San Diego Comic-Con, and there was 8 things to learn about it, which I will not go on here. But I will say that there's some stuff that there's going to be some standalone stories, just like some mini episodes that are going to happen, kind of a la what Doctor Who was doing a while. And some people are back. There's a new Chancellor, Spock. I guess that's the big thing that's going to come up, because the main character is the half sister of Spock. So at some point, Spock was going to come into this, and that has been confirmed that there you go, that he will show up. And of course some more stuff with the Enterprise. So cool. Like I said, I want to catch up with this show, and I plan to at some point. Venom director confirms Riot will battle Eddie Brock along with other villains. Excuse me. There's a Venom movie. No one asked for it. Apparently they're staying pretty close to Lethal Protector series of the comics. Sure, whatever. Venom star Tom Hardy tells San Diego Comic-Con that he wants to fight Tom Holland's Spider-Man, because guess what? That Venom movie is not, I repeat, not, and we've said this before, so you know this by now, affiliated with the Spider-Man movies or the doesn't seem to be the Marvel Universe at large cinematically. So yeah. All right. Speaking of undue backlash, the backlash over She-Ra's redesign is why girls can't have nice things. Oh, outfit fell asleep. So yeah, there's going to be a new She-Ra, series, and when concept art came out from it, dudes who shouldn't have anything to say about this came out all up in their feels, and it's usually one particular type of male, which is always in the always the blabs on this one's on stuff like this. So yeah, it's a new design. I don't have a problem with it. It seems cool to me. I don't know. As you can see, this is the old design if you're watching the video, and here is the new design. I mean, I don't see anything wrong with it personally, but people are talking all kind of dumbness about it for a show that's technically not even for them. But this is the state of fandom, and it sucks and needs to stop. Josh Whedon's Buffy the Vampire Slayer lands TV reboot. Don't know if this needs to be necessary either. But yeah, Josh Whedon is going to do Buffy again, but it is going to be a more diverse cast from all accounts told. Casting has not been set for the Buffy reboot. It will reportedly feature a richly diverse cast, and like the original series, boasts metaphors for issues facing society today. Because yes, he did that quite well the last time with the other stuff. Yes, that is snark. And it's going to be back at Fox again, which I still don't understand. Even to say what you want about Josh Whedon, I don't know why he keeps, going back to that after what they've done to some of his other shows. But that may say more about that than probably needs to be said from me. So, Gotham's David Mazouz, I don't know how to pronounce his name. I apologize, sir. Teases Joker fight Batman suit 4 final season. So, Gotham season 5 is going to look like it's. Oh wait, no, this is going to be season 6. I'm sorry. I'm behind on this one too. Gotham's kind of crazy. I kind of like that, but I kind of fell off of it, not necessarily in like season 3-ish, and not because of the show got bad, but because of just there's a lot of TV shows out there, especially dealing with superhero stuff. And I've fallen off of all of those. But I'm hoping it stays crazy, because that's kind of what is the thing I liked about the show. So we have teenage Bruce Wayne, and they've been kind of steadily going towards the Batman thing for at least season 3 or so, actively. So yeah, there's a thing, and yeah, the whole Joker thing is like, because there's a character that already showed up that could have been the Joker, but they're saying that is not your Joker and blah 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 and this and that and other, but he probably is. So yeah, that's the thing. And also, season 6 looks like it's going to be the final season, which is good. You know, 7 seasons is a good run. Remastered Blu-ray Batman the Animated. Wait, thought I already did this one already. I did do this one already, so moving right along. Because I thought it was Batman Beyond. That was a different one. Anyway, Tom King's dystopian TV drama States of America in development. So Tom King, current writer of Batman, also current writer of Mr. Miracle, and previous writer of the previous Vision series. All good stuff. Well, at least Mr. Miracle and Vision. I haven't been reading much of Batman except for like 2 issues, and those issues were actually pretty decent. But yeah, Tom King, Eisner Award winner. We'll get to that a little bit later. Yeah, he's going into the TV now, just like that seems to be the move with a lot of this stuff. States of America. Oh right, I forgot. Tom King was a former CIA officer. That's funny. Turned comic book writer. Oh yeah, she's asking a question about that. So yeah, so I mean, States of America is set to combine the thrill and intrigue of speculative fiction with the modern fears and anxiety of the war on terror. I'm not sure if I like that part or not, because yeah, that could go away. To explore a world where the old small differences that divide this country have become the war cries of new nations. No word as to where that's going to get to be or when, but it is a thing. It doesn't say it's it doesn't say if it's based off of a comic book either. But nevertheless, either way, and he's got a big event coming later in a couple of months. So yeah. The Predator Shane Black wants to direct episodes of The Flash and Supergirl. Shane Black, director of the upcoming Predator film, also the director of Iron Man 3. The less said about that, the better. Also had a starring role in the original Predator as no less a comic book loving nerd, as this article says. Or comic book reading nerd, which I don't remember that part, but I do remember that, you know, him being it. So nevertheless, yeah, he's taking a stab at the Predator again, and he wants to do some episodes of Flash and Supergirl for some reason. Sure. Mission Impossible director responds to Man of Steel 2 Green Lantern Corps rumors. So Christopher McQuarrie of Mission Impossible Fallout directing fame, and also I know he did some of the writing. I think he did some of the writing in Mission Impossible 5 and 4. And I want to say he's done some other stuff that I feel like I should know about and should mention out. But regardless, so yeah, there's rumors of him either doing or wanting to do the Green Lantern Corps movie and Man of Steel 2. He says here. Oh, it says, so as for directing crews, they've talked about it. Let's just basically leave it at that. He does say he is to me, I'm interested in a good story. That's really that's really what it is. I mean, when Man of Steel came up, it was because somebody had asked me did I want to work with him again, which I would in a second. I go through the door that opens. So, and the reason why this comes up because I believe it has been said that he's been trying to get away from doing superhero movies because he worked on some of the X-Men stuff. But as tends to happen in Hollywood, that I know doesn't necessarily mean never. And I'm pretty sure the right price and script kind of, not saying that he's all about the money, but you know, I'm sure there are whatever factors that can get you back into the fold, Let's put it that way. Adult Swim responds to offensive 2009 video by Rick and Morty co-creator. So, I mean, granted, this is not the first dumb thing Dan Harmon has said or done. So it is what it is. But Adult Swim is standing behind Rick and Morty co-creator Dan Harmon after a offensive video he made in 2009 resurfaces, igniting controversy on social media as it tends to happen. Yeah, and again, with the other stuff, a lot of this is going on. So apparently he did some sketch for what's he's saying is a satirical pilot for an imaginary TV show called Daryl, which is a parallel of the serial killer drama Dexter. In Daryl, the lead character played by Harmon would travel back in time and attempt to stop modern serial killers by sexually assaulting them when they were babies. Harmon simulates the rape of a baby in the video using a doll, and I probably should have put a trigger warning before that, so I apologize. So yeah, he made a dumb pilot for a dumb thing, and again, this is not the first dumb thing that Harmon has said or done. So, but Adult Swim, unlike Disney, is standing behind them. So go down that hill. Cloak and Dagger director Gina Prince Bythewood tackling Old Guard for Skydance. The Old Guard is a Greg Ruck creator-owned book, if I'm not mistaken. That came out on Image Comics, and there's going to be a movie about it. And Gina Prince Bythewood is going to be directing it, so that's awesome. Prince Bythewood is also directing the Silver and Black Spider-Man movie, which is the Silver Surfer movie, and Black Cat, which also has, just like Venom, has nothing to do with the Marvel Cinematic Universe as far as we know. But you know what? You go, girl. You get that money. She has been in the business for a while and doing a lot of awesome work, so good on her. Wonder Woman 1984 adds Insecure star Natasha Rothwell. Insecure is another show I need to catch up on. Does it say here what her role is going to be? Nope, not yet. So, but she's a part of the cast, so good on you. And now we turn to the comic news of the week, and I'm going to try. Oh, yeah, it's just like I need to kind of blow through this. Like I said, it was a lot of news this week, especially coming out of San Diego Comic-Con. The October 2018 solicits have now come out for pretty much everyone. That is the other sheet. So yeah, so we now are going to be starting to know about books that are coming out in October. I need to go through some of that because I'm curious about a couple of things. In clickbait, I will say that Black Panther designer Ruth Carter reveals the African symbols embedded in the costume. So there's some Black Panther comic consuming stuff that should be checked out. It's an interesting article, and also there's a guide in there to Peter Parker and Mary Jane's complicated and long love life, as well as a couple of other things, but we're not going to go over that because that's clickbait, and we should really have put those out. Why? Because I don't know if everybody sees the notes, but I will have to do something about that. Three Jokers lands at Black Label, but is in the DCU continuity. So yeah, the Three Jokers thing has been a thing for a while, coming up in the various DC books. And now there will be a Jeff Johns and Jason Fabok title that's going to be on the Black Label, which mostly is Elseworld stuff. But this will apparently tie into the continuity of the main universe. So, okay, that's weird because, like I said, all that Black Label stuff is supposed to be Elseworld stuff, and this one just happens not to be. So, but then again, that's kind of how comics goes. You say one thing and do another. Grant Morrison and Liam Sharp helming Hal Jordan Green Lantern relaunch. So Grant Morrison is coming back to the DCU, folks. Buckle up. Let's see. It's going to be the Green Lantern, new series that designed to explore the titular hero's hero. So it's Hal Jordan again. I mean, yeah, that's all it is to it. And it looks like it says, quote, instead of the big epic 12-part stories, we're focusing down on the everyday life of a space cop. Grant Morrison says. Basically, it's no more apocalypse ending storylines. The basic concept is that Hal Jordan is like a space cop that patrols the sector of the universe where anything can happen. We've made it more like a police procedural. Which that part right there kind of sounds relatively interesting because you have heard us talk about Thor's, the miniseries that came out of Secret Wars a few years back. That was awesome. That was basically homicide life on the street. And that was awesome. And also kind of Green Lantern Light in that Thor's were like a bunch of cops, basically. So, let's see where this goes. I don't know if I'll be interested in it or not, but like I said, we'll see. It's, should have done that with Jon Stewart. That's all I'm saying. Anywho, John's Shazam launches this November with Dale Eaglesham. I feel like they just added the artist there at the last minute because there's been some hubbub about not doing so on social media. Nevertheless, Jeff Johns' Shazam series launches this November. With the artists of Dale Eaglesham. They announced this during the Spotlight panel at Comic-Con. And it will be coming out November 21st. And looks like it's going to be Billy Batson and the Marvel family. The Shazam family, regardless. You know what I'm talking about. If you don't, I'm sorry. Jim Lee and Dan DiDio talk DC's big picture. So yeah, this is basically where they talk shop and tell about what's going on with the various imprints and the DCU at large in the coming years, including they also own like Mad. Also, I mean DC is also deals with Mad because Warner Brothers owns both of them. So they folded Mad into the DC thing. And like I said, this was just a panel, and that's just a live tweet of what happened at that panel and what they talked about. So I won't go into all of that there. But some of this I'm probably talking about is probably in here. Scott Snyder announces massive DC crossover event for 2019. I believe that was in that article. So at Comic-Con of the San Diego variety, yep, a big crossover. That's coming next year. Excuse me. So the Heroes in Crisis one is coming out, I believe, this year, and that's Tom King's deal. So they're already getting ahead to next year with Scott Snyder's crossover, because you can't have a year without a crossover, obviously. Let's see. He says the Justice League writer revealed everything is coming back. We want to pay it forward. The Mega Titans, Barbatos, the Forge, it's all coming back. Everything you read, our goal is to reward. All of it culminates in a year in like a metal event. I don't know if I'm supposed to be saying that, but I'm saying it. Though that is a direct quote from Scott Snyder. So look forward to that next year. I'm sure we'll be hearing about it going forward. Speaking of Tom King leads Unique Heroes in Crisis event on a yacht. I'm on a boat. So yeah, apparently they had a thing that Tom King hosted, and they had folks in masks to hide their identity. And some meditation and some other stuff happened. So yeah, that is a thing. And it looks like it says, according to this, Heroes in Crisis is a realization of the themes of Mr. Miracle. The writer frames that the current series is an examination of one person's impact on the DCU. Heroes in Crisis will open up hundreds of heroes to the examination we've given scot-free. So, Heroes in Crisis is intended by King to change the way heroes and superhero stories are seen, a la Crisis on Infinite Earths, but through a personal story. So, yeah, we'll see how that Crisis works out, because I'm pretty sure there's going to be some DC craziness probably still in it, and a death or two, a needless death of some woman. I don't know. Mitch Gerard joins DC's Heroes in Crisis as the artist. So we're going to have the team of Tom King and Mitch Gerard again for some stuff. So that's awesome. Mr. Merkel, yeah, so this was also at that same, I think this might have been at that same event or a similar event. So cool beans. More of that team. One moment. I'm sorry about that, folks. Wonder Woman is officially the franchise's most brutal villain. So this is, oh yeah, so this is what I forgot to talk about in Injustice versus Masters of the Universe, because there are some things that happen in that book, which I know, well, I don't know if he's gonna go back and listen to this, but yeah, let's just say there's some minorities report things happen, and Wonder Woman out there doing dirt. DC Comics San Diego Comic-Con 2018 Day 1 art gallery. So there's a bunch of art that was shown during the course of the show. I think different stuff on each day, but I'm not sure. But they had some stuff from DC's Ink and Zoom lines, from the newly announced Electric Warriors, more interiors from Doomsday and Clock 6, which is out already, and Batman Damned, and the new Justice League covers, and some more stuff. So they're just basically previewing some stuff that's coming out. IDW announces Shredder in Hell by Mateus Santaluco. Hope I said that name right. This is a press event, just like a press thing. IDW is proud to announce that acclaimed TMNT artist Mateus Santaluco will both write and draw Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder in Hell, a 5-issue miniseries slated to debut in early 2019 that serves as a sequel to the fan favorite Secret History of the Foot Clan storyline, which I never actually finished reading. So that's the thing that's coming. Cool beans. Josh Whedon's Dr. Horrible returning as a comic book after 10 years. So sure, okay. Written by Josh Whedon, who has obviously written comics before, including some Firefly stuff, Buffy stuff, and Astonishing X-Men. Arriving November 14th from Dark Horse, Dr. Horrible, Best Friends Forever is written by Joss Whedon and written with art by Jose Maria Belroy and Sandra Solar, with colors by Dan Jackson, cover art by Fabio Moon, and various print cover by Francesco Francavilla. So cool, I guess. If you're a fan of Dr. Horrible sing-along blog, that's a thing. Christopher Priest's Spider-Force will introduce two new Spider-Men. So Christopher Priest, I've said this before, one of my favorite writers, writer of the preeminent version of Black Panther. He's out there. He's done, he's still been out there writing some stuff. I think he wrote some Cyborg. He wrote Astonisher. He's going back and writing Astonisher still also, and some other stuff that he's been writing here and there. But now he gets a chance to write some spiders, which I'm not sure if he ever has or not. So yeah, it's a mini series that's going to spin out of Spider-Geddon, and that was announced at Comic-Con. Illustrations by Paulo Siqueira. The series will feature Kane forming a team of heroes to go on suicide missions to stop villains, while also introducing 2 new superheroes, Astro Spider and Spider Kid. Which, yeah, I will definitely check it out. Like I said, it's a miniseries. It's Priest. Those 2 things, I can deal with that. So, and I think some of this is probably coming out of October. Wait, does it say when this is coming out? I think it does. Not sure. It does not say, but it was announced. But it's probably coming fairly soon because Spider-Geddon is going to be soon anyway. Mayday Parker, Anya Corazon, and more swing into the new Spider-Girls title. So we have another miniseries called Spider-Girls, written by Jody Hauser, with Andreas Genelette as the artist. That teams Mayday Parker, Anya Corazon, Annie Mae Parker, all together. So, yeah, I don't know. And it looks like it says May will do anything to protect her brother from the inheritors, and Anya's knowledge of the mystical spider totems may save the day. How does Annie fit in, and what chance does the 3D girls have them? So it's almost like that Spider Woman series that came out, which was actually pretty decent, but different writer and crew. So yeah, Spider-Geddon's gonna have a lot of probably stuff coming out of it. Go figure. Spider-Man returns with Wild West Spider-Man in tow for Marvel's Vault of Spiders. So this looks like a 2-issue series that is going to be written by Cullen Bunn, and it was also announced during the Spider-Man panel, which I guess that other stuff was too. It's going to be a 2-issue anthology, which will feature more Spider-related characters, some new ones at that, across the Spider-Verse, including Web-Slinger, the Spider-Man from the Wild West, and Spider-Man from the live-action, the live-action 1970s Spider-Man show, which I could have sworn. Well, there was folks, if you did not know, there was a live-action show back in the 70s. Actually, there might have been 2, because there was one in. I don't think that one that was here is the same one that was in Japan. I will have to go look it up, but there was definitely one here from back in the 70s, and it was amusing. But nevertheless, and every time I think of that spelling of Spider-Man, I always think of Dr. Doom saying it in the Spider-Man animated series of the 80s. They're Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends. So that's always funny. Anyway, again, more stuff coming out of Spider-Geddon. Miles Morales' Spider-Man redesign for October with a new code name. So, and I'm just going to wrap this next one in. Yes, the champions are going to Weird World, because that's apparently never going to die. So Miles's redesign looks like it's going to be coming out of that, and also the Infinity Wars stuff. So, and apparently the champions are going to be going to Weird World. I said on Twitter that if you're looking at the video you see in the cover for Champions 25, and they look like D&D characters, which, given that Jim Zub is writing this, I would not be surprised by that, because he writes a lot of D&D books, or at least he's written a few, I know. But nevertheless, that is coming actually in a couple of issues, now that I think about it. And of course, there was like I said, Miles's redesign that was a part of that. So I don't know. Miles is a rogue. Go figure. Venom's co-creator returns for the Anti-Heroes' first ever annual. So Venom co-creator David Michelinie is returning to the character he and Todd McFarlane first released on Spider-Man's World in 1988, scripting a story for his Marvel symbiote-fueled Anti-Heroes' very first annual. That's a thing. It's coming. So cool, I guess. Marvel Knights relaunch underway from Donny Cates and more, which, by the way, Donny Cates is also writing that Venom series. And part of that annual. So yeah, Marvel is celebrating 20th anniversary of the Marvel Knights line, because the 90s are new again, by bringing it back with this is bringing it back with Venom and Thanos writer Donny Cates as the line's quote-unquote showrunner. Cates will personally be choosing the writers for the new Marvel Knights, with Tini Howard, Matthew Rosenberg, and Vita Alea tabbed as the initial writers for the relaunched line. The relaunch will feature many of the same characters as the original Marvel Knights, which includes Daredevil, Punisher, Black Panther, Ghost Rider, Elektra, and more. So yeah, so Marvel Knights, if you did not know, was a thing from back in the 90s, where it was a little more edgier take on some superheroes. well, edgy for the character, not necessarily edgy for the characters, because the ones that I've named are pretty much the ones that could go there. You know, I believe wasn't there a Blade series also? I am not sure. But I believe there was a Marvel Knights Blade series also, and like I said, Black Panther was there, Punisher, all those kind of folks. So yeah, there was a little harder / edgier takes on the heroes, some of which had already had other books in circulation at the time. So yeah, that's the thing. It's coming back. I guess I shouldn't be surprised by that. But there you go. News that I love hearing about. Daughters of the Dragon, Luke Cage, Iron Fist will return with their own titles. So of those three, Daughters of the Dragon are the only ones that have not had a current series, because Luke Cage just had one that got canceled, or they ended rather, and Iron Fist also had one that it got ended, arguably too, and they also had Luke, Power Man, and Iron Fist together. But yeah, that's the thing. So Marvel Comics is launching Daughters of the Dragon as a part of its digital on. So okay, this was the disappointing part. A part of its Marvel Digital Originals line. First reported by IGN, these 3 Defenders-related titles will join the new Jessica Jones series, which basically just dropped last Wednesday. Just came out of the blue. So each title will be double-sized digital issues releasing monthly, which that's not bad, with a scheduled pause after every 3 issues. So I don't think we talked about that Jessica Jones series, but yeah, I think that's probably the next one. But yeah, the Jessica Jones one is already out, and I think they're, like this says, it's going to be double-sized. So they're doing something different at Marvel. We'll see how that works out. But yeah, they just basically just dropped that Jessica Jones out there, and it says no release rates were announced for these 3 titles. Marvel plans for these titles to be available on Comixology, which yeah, that's how I've been seeing a lot of the stuff that's just been dropping off of the originals line. Because yeah, so you got to kind of be careful and watch that stuff in addition to if you're watching comic lists or whatnot, because that stuff doesn't show off. And there was a couple of Black Panther ones that kind of came out like that, or at least one Black Panther one that came out like that. So you should really go be checking the Comixology stuff, or or stuff like that. There's some good stuff in there. Anyway, no release dates and whatnot, but they all will be coming with print editions at later dates following each arc's digital release. So when they finish one arc, they'll drop a big print one. So cool. And I assume that the print ones will have digital codes in them. That part I don't know, but since they're already releasing these as digital first, we don't know. The Luke Cage will be written by Anthony Del Call, art by Janoy Lindsay. Iron Fist Phantom Limb will be written by Clay McLeod Chapman, art by Guillermo Sana. And Daughters of the Dragon will be written by Jed McKay, with art by Travel Foreman. So I guess I'll still look forward to that one, because hey, it's Daughters of the Dragons, Missy and Colleen. We want that, but I don't know. And I talked about Jessica Jones already. That's been out for a week, so you can go check that out at will. But Marvel resurrecting Uncanny X-Men title in November. Again, 90s, back again. Actually, technically, Uncanny has been around since way before the 90s, but nevertheless, it's still, because Uncanny started like in the 70s. Or wait, no, X-Men started in the 70s, and then Uncanny was like late 80s or something. Either way, it's coming back. And there hasn't been an Uncanny X-Men title in a while. No creative team has been announced. Which I guess that's probably why they got rid of Blue and Gold. And Red is going to be like a miniseries. I don't know. Work on Neil Gaiman's Miracle Man resumed for 2019 release. So Neil Gaiman did a comic book called Miracle Man. It Sure, I don't know much about it. I'm not even gonna sit here in front, but yeah, there are fans of it, and there'll be more in 2019. So I'm just gonna push on from that. George Takei to publish graphic novel on his childhood in U.S. internment camp. George Takei, you know him. He's a vocal critic of Trump. He's also played in a little thing called Star Trek, excuse me. You know, for many, many years is one of the original cast as Sulu. You know him. You love him. Well, some of y'all do. Some of y'all are real buttholes about him. But anyway, and They Call Us Enemy, the Star Trek star revisits his haunting childhood in American concentration camps as one of the 120,000 Japanese American imprisoned by the U.S. government during the World War II, according to its publisher. The graphic novel will offer firsthand account of those years behind the barbed wire, the terrors and small joys of childhood in the shadow of legalized racism, his mother's hard choices, his father's tested faith in democracy, and the way those experiences planted the seeds of his astonishing future, a news release says. So, you know, not surprising this is coming out because, you know, Takei has been a well-spokenly out against Trump, rightfully so. Let's see, Takei's book, a collaboration with co-writers Justin Eisinger and Stephen Scott, as well as artist Harmony Becker, was poised to be released in 2019. So look forward to that. Tales from Vader's Castle to bring the Galactic Frights this October. So, from what I've gleaned of this, is a Star Wars / horror story. And it's called Vader's Castle. And wait, is it going to be the Rebels crew? Oh no, they're just so if you can't tell, Francisco Francovillo, the perfect person to be doing the covers for this. I don't know if he's doing the insides. This one, yeah, he's doing covers. So again, perfect person to be doing that. Is going to be doing the covers for that. And this is a Star Wars Adventures title, by the way, which is the all ages Star Wars book that IDW is putting out. Let's see, written by Kevin Scott, illustrated by Derek Charm. The series will feature fan favorite characters spanning the Star Wars saga, including Star Wars Rebels Hera, Kanan, and Chopper, Obi-Wan Kenobi, and Count Dooku, Han Solo, and Chewbacca, and amazingly, even Ewoks. So it sounds like basically a horror version of what they're doing with Star Wars Adventures proper. Is it going to be a miniseries? Yes, 5-issue comic books miniseries coming from IDW. So there you go. Look forward to that probably around Halloween. Star Wars Ventures back to the prequel era with a bunch of new books and comics, one of which we'd already talked about. Star Wars Queen Shadow is coming out as a book by E.K. Johnston. Let's see, and a few other books, I think. Let's see. Greg Pak is writing another book, looks like. Jody Hauser is putting out an 8-issue series called Age of Republic. There's going to be an anthology series and some other stuff. So no dearth, no, we're not lacking the Star Wars content, folks. Here's some news that I kind of wish Dirt was around here for, and actually I'm going to put that somewhere, but I'll do that in a minute. The GoBots. Oops, let me do that. The GoBots, folks, the bootleg Transformers, as some would call them, returns after 30+ years to comic book form. Tom Scioli, apologize if I butchered the name, is doing a 5-issue miniseries coming through IDW about the GoBots. Now, this writer also did Transformers versus G.I. Joe. Doubt if they were going to let him put his hands on Transformers proper, because John Barber seems to has that all locked out for right now, except for what we found out in the solicits, which was like Transformers might be taking a break, according to October solicits. So go figure on that one, which maybe I should go. But nevertheless, GoBots get a 5-issue miniseries starting in October. I am curious about this one. So GoBots were basically Transformers. They were kind of, I said, bootleg versions of them. I will stand behind that one. They had their own show just like the Transformers did. Yeah. So GoBots will be the first story to feature classic toy and cartoon characters like Leader One, Scooter, Turbo, and Psykill's Renegades in over 3 decades. It's been over 30 years since we've seen anything from GoBots, with good reason probably. But everything is old is new again. So, like I said, I will be checking this out. So stay tuned for that. Eisner Awards winners came out. So the Eisner Awards are basically, as someone put it, the Oscars for comic book folk. And that happens at South Carolina, San Diego Comic-Con every year. I bet there is a South Carolina Comic-Con, but it's nowhere near the scope of this. Nevertheless, there is a bunch of winners, including one I will get to in a minute. But Black Panther, World of Wakanda, Monstrous, all both won. Black Bolt won by Saladin Hamid and Christian Ward. Like I said, Black Panther, World of Wakanda by Roxane Gay, Ta-Nehisi Coates, and Theo Martinez. Monstrous is, of course, Marjorie Liu, who, actually, might as well go ahead and say it, became the first woman ever to win the typewriting award at the Eisners. So the typewriting award is a specific category at the Eisners. I guess it's almost akin to a best actor. I don't know. But nevertheless, she won for Monstrous alongside Tom King, which she's sharing the award with, apparently. For, I think, oh yeah. So best writer is Tom King for Batman 2, or I guess that's the word stuff we've written. Of particular note, they mentioned Batman Elmer Fudd Special, which is one that I loved, and of course Mr. Miracle, and Marjorie Liu, of course, for Monstrous. Mr. Miracle also brought home an award in the form of Mitch Gerard for Best Penciler, Sana Takada for Monstrous, for Best Cover Artist and Painter, and a bunch of other stuff. Stan Sakai was Best Lettering for, there's a few different awards. Some of the stuff you would probably know, some of the stuff you probably won't know. If you keep to the big two, you probably won't be checking for some of the stuff, but you probably should, because there's some good stuff out there outside of the big two. And I say that as a person who needs to be checking out some of that stuff myself, including Monstrous, because I've not read it, but I hear good things about it. So congrats to Marjorie Liu, and like I said, Roxane Gay also won, and also I believe Tanika Stotts, won an award, which I was meant to go back and get to see what she won, or I believe she's an artist. But both of those are women of color, and there are not many women of color, much less people of color, win that many Eisners. So that is a good deal all the way around. I don't know if they were the first women of color to win an award, but I don't know. But regardless, it should be noted that they have. Detective Comics reveals Batman's greatest weakness. This was written by our very own Tim Adams. You should go ahead and read it, because this article, I'm not saying that just because, Tim's crew and fam, but it's a pretty good article. So I will say that, yeah, the weakness ends up being something that that's probably been noted before in other places, which I think Tim goes into saying some part of the article, but nevertheless, it has something to do with what's going on in Detective Comics also. So just go check it out. Saga goes on year-long intermission. So Image Comics' long-running Saga will have a year-long intermission as opposed to the 3 months one that they normally do. As Brian K. Vaughan says, it is to recharge their creative batteries. I believe this article says. So I don't know what Saga Focus are going to do in a year, because, yeah, that's like 3 months. People are already going crazy. So a year, which, everybody needs a break every now and then. So, and they've been doing this book for a good minute. It says here, this obviously wasn't a decision we took lightly, but Fiona and I feel a responsibility to keep making the very best comic we can, and we both agreed that the only way to eventually finish the epic saga we set out to tell was, with this one significant, let's call it intermission. So, and then that's when he goes on to say, talking about creatively recharge and reconnect with non-fictional families. So yeah, that's the thing. Saga's going to go on a hiatus for a year. I hope people don't freak out too much. IDW CEO, co-founder takes sabbatical, new CEO named. So Ted Adams, not to be confused with our own Tim or related to, I doubt it, is taking a leave of absence from the company, with board member Carrie McCluggage stepping into the role of CEO, according to the Hollywood Reporter. So yeah, movement's about. Blackbird brings neon-drenched magic, monsters, and demons to the City of Angels. This is a new book from Image Comics, co-created by Sam Humphries and Jen Bartel. It is an all-new modern fantasy series previously announced at Image Expo and launching this fall. We really wanted to create a story that felt fresh and different, something that appealed to the experienced comic readers, but also extremely accessible to new readers. And we really feel like Blackbird encompasses that, says Sam Humphries. So it is ultimately a world about magic that exists just beneath the surface of everyday places and things, but it's through the lens of a modern, sexy, neon-lit drama. It's Harry Potter meets Riverdale. End quote. So if that sounds like an appeal to you, you should check that out this coming October. Avengers give Namor, the Submariner, a new costume, which, if you're looking at the video, here's an image of it. It looks straight emo, though. So Avengers 9, we will see that costume show up in whatever capacity he will be showing up. And doesn't matter where I like London, that just looks weird. Anywho, Chelsea Kane returns to the Marvel for a new Vision series. So I kind of mentioned this earlier. Chelsea Kane of Mockingbird, well, she's a novelist, New York Times best-selling novelist, to be specific, wrote a miniseries of, well, what ended up being a miniseries of Mockingbird, which should have been still going because that thing was awesome. But she is now back again and will be writing the Vision. So, and Kane, is notable here that Kane left Twitter because of unwanted harassment over her Mockingbird series, which I thought was great, and I think Agent 70 also did too, and has not worked in comics since then, which is a shame because, I can't see how you can call yourself a fan of comics, but trying to actively push people out unless you're one of these knuckle-dragging buttwads who think comics have to be one thing and only one set of people can write them, and that's a white male dude. Let's just go ahead and say it. Anyway, so yeah, a Vision 6-issue miniseries picking up from where Tom King and Gabriel Walter acclaimed title left off. The series kicks off in November and will follow the Avengers resident synthezoid as his daughter Viv, and their robo-dog Sparky attempt to pick up the pieces of their shattered family life and move forward. So, obviously, a curiosity about that since it's coming off of the that previous Vision miniseries, which was great. By the way, if you haven't checked, I know we talk about it here all the time, so you should definitely go check that one out. And I'm hoping this works out for her because that's it. That was a good thing. We are nearing the end of the show, and with that becomes another ad read really quickly. And I said I was trying to be quick, but apparently it was not as quick as what I thought it was going to be. Last ad of the night, Funko, Fun at First Sight, your home for exclusive collectibles, apparel, and brand merchandise. And now for the listeners of Comic Chronicles, can enjoy 10% off your entire purchase when shopping Funko. To place your first order with 10% off and to help keep our show free for you, go to the network website at cspn.us. That's cspn.us. Then click on the Keep Our Podcast Free link at the top of the page. From there, scroll down to the Funko link and place your order. When you get to the checkout, put in the offer code SHOP10 for your 10% discount. Funko through CSPN. Do it today. And we are at the end of the show, finally. I'm sorry, there was a whole lot of news. It was either that or I break it up into two shows and do a news show in a couple of days, which I don't know if anybody would have been interested in. But if you do, hey, write us and let us know. By all means, please. I'm curious about that. With that, thank you for coming out. Thank you for PCN_Dirt. You can find him at that address, PCN_Dirt on Twitter. You can also find him at Pop Culture Network, Pop Culture Net on Twitter, popculturenetwork.com, IneedComics.com, which is a splinter off of his Pop Culture Network thing. Agent_70 on Instagram and Twitter. I hope everything is going well with you and yours, sir, as well as be expected. Tim Dog98 on Twitter. The KLIQ Nation, that's the KLIQ NATION on Twitter. CB Cron on Twitter. TheKLIQNation.com. CBR, he's doing a lot of good work over there. Go check him out. And myself, Righty-Cat on Twitter, News Nerds Need on Twitter, CB Caps on Instagram. I have a Reddit, News Nerds Need. It's not toxic. Try not to get it to be that way, but you know, I do what I can. But you can find this podcast on the CSPN network, and that's cspn.us. Go there, go check out the other shows that we have on the network. Good stuff. You can subscribe to this podcast on Google Play and also iTunes or Apple Podcasts, whichever you want to call it. SoundCloud, you can also go to the Cold Slither network feed, and you can find us there. CSPN, shop.cspn.us. You can go get some merch from this show and other shows on the CSPN network and go help us keep this great network afloat. And with that, folks, I am out of here. I said I was going to try to shorten the show up as possible, but apparently that is not within my power. So I bid you adieu until next week. Hopefully, we will get more of the guys back in here, or everybody, or some semblance of. But everybody's going through life things, and that's what it do. And on that note, this is the KLIQ Nation's Comic Book Chronicles, and we are out.
Good evening, Rick. Would you believe it's Dr. Doom?
What's on your evil mind?
Hold your insulting tongue and mark my words well.
How about this rumor that you are really hired, Mr. Stark?
Bill Vizito said, "Holy cow."